All right, welcome. It is Friday. Yay, we made it to the end of the week. All right, so today we're going to finish up our 2.4 notes. Again, just as a quick reminder, if you have anything for me to grade, make sure it gets into the buckets, including redos, missings, and last night's homework, if you have it done. So we're going to finish up with just B1. We're going to do D1 and D2 in our notes, and then this will get taped in on the left side as a flip page, and on the right side of our composition book we'll do part E. So we'll have all that going on today. Let's go ahead and get started with our first problem over here. So if you remember from yesterday, we had the 3 plans. I just rewrote the equations up here for you. So we want to know which plan contains the point 2, 4. And if you remember, we did something very similar with Emil and Henry. Okay, if you remember, this is your X and that's your Y. Let me fix my pen here for a second. All right, that's my X. This is my Y. So you plug in the X and you should get the answer for Y. So all of your answers should be 4 if this is a true statement. So let's go ahead and start with plan 1. Y equals 5X minus 3, just copying down the equation. And now instead of putting X, I'm going to put 2. So we're going to say 5 times 2 minus 3. 5 times 2 is 10. 10 take away 3 gives me 7. Well, I was supposed to get 4. Does 4 equal 7? No. So those are not equal, so this does not land on the graph. All right, let's try plan 2. Go ahead and write down the equation. Y equals negative X plus 6. All right, again, we're going to swap out the X for the 2, and our answer should come to 4. So we're going to have negative 2 plus 6. Negative 2 plus 6, we have a negative and a positive, so we subtract, but we keep the sign of the bigger number. So in this case, it'll be a positive answer. 6 take away 2 gives me 4. And does 4 equal 4? Yes. So that point will land on plan 2's line. Now let's look at plan 3. Plan 3 says y equals 2. No matter what, y is going to equal 2. Well, look over here. What's it saying that y should equal? It should equal 4. So there's no way that 2 will ever equal 4. So this is obviously a no. All right, let's look at D1. The following 3 points all lie on a graph of the same plan. Find the missing coordinates. All right, so they gave us the first one, the negative 7 and 13. We have 1.2 as an X. We need to find Y. And we have negative 4 for a Y, and we need to find the X. So I'm going to pick plan 2, just because it has that negative in it, and I'm thinking that might kind of help me out a little bit here. But let's see if we can work something out. So we have Y equals negative X plus 6. Now, since this one has an X here, I'm going to go ahead and plug in this for X. So I'm going to get negative 1.2 plus 6. And just to let you know, another reason I chose plan 2 is because it's the only one that had a yes up here. So there's another one. Another reason why. Now we have negative 1.2 plus 6, which means we're going to subtract, but our answer will be positive because the 6 is bigger. So on your calculators, do 6 take away 1.2. All right, you should have got positive 4.8. So our new coordinates will be 1.2 and 4.8. All right, and again, the reason I chose this plan over the other ones is it said all 3 of these landed on the same plan. So I'm assuming same plan being the one that gave us a yes up here. So let's find this one now using the same equation. Y equals negative X plus 6. Now this time I have a Y. I don't have an X. So I'm going to plug in -4 for y, leaving my -x and bringing down my +6. Now what this is saying is something, -1 times something plus 6 would give me -4. So in order to solve this, we want to get the x by itself. So we have to get rid of this 6. So what's the opposite of adding 6? Subtracting 6. And what you do to one side, you do to the other. My 6 is canceled because 6 take away 6 is 0. Now when you bring this down, you need to make sure you bring down the -x with it. All right, now you have -4, -6. They're both negative, which means we're going to add, but our answer will be negative. 6 plus 4 is 10. Now before you get all excited and say, oh cool, my answer is -10, you have to look at one little thing, and I'm actually going to put it in a different color. This is a negative and this is a negative. If you remember our rules, a negative and a negative equal a positive. So this is actually a positive 10 up here. All right, there you go. So your new coordinates is 10 and -4. All right, D2, I'm going to let you write your own question too. It says write a question you could answer by finding the missing coordinate. So you come up with a missing coordinate that would fit into that equation and have it work out. So while you do that, I'm going to go ahead and pull up our composition book pages. If you need more time, you can always finish this up later at home. That's not a problem. All right, so I'm just bringing up my composition book page here. All right, so if you need more time on that last question, you can work on it later. Not a problem. Just make sure you get it done before I do a notebook check. So over here on the right-hand side, this is page 109. You're going to tape in your notes over here on the left-hand side. Let's go ahead and name this part E. All right, and I'll give you 1 minute to grab your textbooks. We are on page 37. You're going to need to see the questions in order to finish this up. I'm going to get you started, but you guys are going to finish this up. All right, let's look at part E, number 1. We're just going to do E1 and then 2A and 2B, which is the whole E section actually. All right, so read along with me here. It says, describe how a point on a graph is related to a table and an equation that represent the same relationship. So if you have a graph and a table and equation, how do they all go together? So we would say, and of course I'm writing really big because I can't write on these little lines here. You guys don't need to write so big. So we would say a point on a graph is an ordered pair. Those are the two values that are in the table columns, so the X and Y columns, and our solutions to the equation. So when you solve for x or y, those would be the answers you would get. So that's how they're all related. The graph shows the coordinate points that come off the table. Table being the x and y columns. You take those 2 points. It creates the graph. And on the table, that x, when you plug it into the equation they give you, will give you the y answer, and vice versa. All right, you guys are going to do 2A and 2B. So let's read that together, and then I'm going to let you finish that up. You're just going to put that right here on this page. Of course, you probably have a little bit more room than I do up here, but just like that. So question 2 says, how can you use a table, a graph, or an equation to represent this relationship? So you have y equals 5x minus 3. So for 2A, they want you to find what y would equal if you plug in 7 for the x. All right, and then for B, they want you to find out what x would equal when y equals 23. So you're going to find the missing coordinate points. You're going to find your x and your y. If they gave you x, then you find the y. If they gave you y, you find the x. All right, have a good one, and I will see you guys on Monday.